As you said, I'm Mark Johnson. I work for the United States Attorney's Office for the Western District, Missouri. So that's not the state crime, that's the federal crime. And I'm fortunate enough to be a member of the Regional Computer Forensics Lab. This is an FBI-run lab up in Briarcliff. We've got 14,000 square feet. We do give tours. If you want to get one, you can come and talk to me afterwards, and I'll set one up for you. We are a task force, more than anything else, of local, state, and federal law enforcement agents that do computer crime, and we cover the entire state of Kansas and 2/3 of Missouri. So we see quite a different number of cases, and we have for the last 15 years since we've been there since 2003. So I've got kind of a brief time tonight, but I'm the doom and gloom guy, just so you know. We're starting off with doom and gloom, and then you're going to have some really great stuff after me, but I kind of got to hit hard with the reality of stuff, and I kind of like that, quite honestly, because it's kind of how I live my life anyway. So we're going to talk about internet safety and phones, and it's not just safety for kids, it's safety for adults and some of the issues that come along with these phones as well. So do you all remember your first computer? Remember how great it was, that first computer? Word processing. It could not get any better than word processing. I mean, being able to type on a computer and go backspace without having to use that little white thing. Well, a lot of you people don't remember some of us do. Some of us older people do. So obviously, as word processing got better, then we got into graphics programs, things where you could create things online and write things down, or develop pictures and modify movies online, and that was even better. And then the internet came along. We thought it just can't get any better than this. Now we've got the internet, and we can go anywhere, we can Google anything, we can find information as quick as we could think of it. And then we came along cell phones. And I really got excited, because at the time I was a police officer, and I had a phone in my car, and a bag phone, $450 at the time, and that was very, very expensive at the time. But I could make a call anywhere, so I quickly became very popular in my sector, because everybody wanted to use my phone to call homicide or call burglary if we had a case out in the field without having a payphone nearby. We could talk from anywhere, and then text messaging came along, and email came along, and again, more contact. We can contact anybody. We can send email to our relatives across the country, across the world if we wanted to, and it was fantastic. But then we got even more, and we got smartphones, which is what we have now. iPhone users, hands raised. Android? Android loses a little bit, but hey, that's okay. They're all capable of amazing things these days, and I have nothing against technology or the technology that we use in these cell phones and the computers. But what you're looking with you've got that cell phone in your hand, forget about phone calls anymore, because now you're holding a computer in your hand. Anything, anytime, anywhere, for us and our kids, who tend to be a lot younger and not nearly as wise as we are. So that causes a problem, obviously. So some of the issues we're talking about with online issues and safety for kids are, of course, predators. That's the big one. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, because I'll be up here for 2 hours. But we obviously, in my line of work, our biggest source of work is child pornography and child predators. So still a major, major problem with guys who are able to talk these kids into doing anything, because they just don't have the requisite experience and knowledge to know when they need to be afraid. Cyberbullying has become real big in the last 3-4 years. You see shaming, fat shaming. You see color, black, white, Indian, doesn't matter. There's a lot of shaming going on. A lot of it's occurring on Facebook. A lot of it occurring on YouTube. We see constantly this thing. A lot of it happening person to person in the high schools. So no longer do they come up and want to fight anymore. They just send you a text message or send a picture of you in a bad position where you got caught maybe in the bathroom when someone took a picture over the top, and they send it to all your friends, and that just goes like wildfire and everything. So it's embarrassing to these kids, and it really does lead to a lot further problems down the line for their emotional state. We have the famous inappropriate pictures that go back and forth, and unfortunately, once that hits the internet, it's always on the internet. There's no getting it back. It's not like I can just go to the internet and say, find that one picture of Sally, and then take them all down. It doesn't happen that way. So that's also a very, very big thing, and even kids these days just do not realize how important it is not to do what they're doing. Let's talk about adults, though. Cyber sex. Back in the days, the early days of AOL chat rooms and stuff, I had people, adults, meeting guys and girls online, married people, meeting other people online, and having this relationship online that became actually more real than the one they were having with their husband or their wives. And many people left their husband and wives to meet people or to spend the rest of their lives with people on the internet. So it was breaking up families in a large part of society. There's a lot of money scams online. I don't know if you've ever had the emails or the phone calls for the Nigerian scam where you're going to get $25 million and just call me and I'll give it to you. It's going to cost you $8,000 though to get it out of the country and the paperwork and stuff like that. These days, and I know a lot of you are getting this because I get calls from my church people all the time, the scam where Microsoft's calling you telling you your computer's acting slow. Has anybody had that in here? You're lucky. It's coming. Okay, it's coming. I guarantee you're going to get it. This is Sid, or this is Habab, or whoever it happens to be in a foreign country. And a lot of time they're right here local, and they're telling you that we've noticed that your computer's running slow. Now think about this, people. How many billions of computers are on the internet? And some guy from Microsoft, yours is going slow? I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all. So if you get those kind of things, don't buy anything from them. Don't let them have access to your computer. One woman I had last week almost lost $160,000 out of her account by giving the guy control of her computer. I mean, she literally went to the bank, came back, went to the bank again. Luckily, the bank was smart enough to realize something's not right here and stop the payment. So it saved her money. But it can happen. Even if it sounds good, don't let yourself be lulled into it. These are unsolicited calls to you, so don't give them any information if you can. I kind of went off on a tangent on that one because it's there now. There's also viruses that encrypt your information. You can download a picture or something, or you think it's a document of some kind from a source you don't know, and the next thing you know, all your files are encrypted, and you get a message on your screen that says, if you want your stuff back, you got to pay us $300 or $500 or $1,000. They'll give you instructions even how to do it, and they will unlock your files after that $1,000. A lot of you probably do business online with that computer. Well, if you don't give them the money, you're kind of out of luck. These guys are making millions of dollars. This is the Ukrainians and Russians doing most of that. But let's talk real world safety for just a second before I run out of time. How many of you seen YouTube videos of the person walking with a cell phone and runs right in the fountain and goes in? Or falls down pretty funny from this side, but try to be the person who just fell down or went down the hole or the open basement and stuff like that. Those people are getting seriously injured, and there's lots of this happening. And it's all because they're so zeroed in on that phone and what's going on with that phone. It's incredible. And they type really fast, too. I still can't do that. I don't know how they do it. How about distraction in driving? I guarantee there's not one person in here, if I ask, has not seen the car doing this and then come next to them and they're on that phone. Not even up here with the steering wheel. They're down here like this with their head facing straight forward. Happens all the time, and it infuriates me because they're really going to get someone killed, if not just themselves, but others too. So it's responsibility that goes across not only adults, but kids at the same time. Social responsibilities with phones. I don't know if many of you remember a few years ago, there was an officer named Hubbard who used to work with me, and he was working off duty at the Marriott downtown. And unfortunately, a firefighter, my wife happens to be a firefighter, got really drunk. He just got married that night, beat up a cab driver in the parking lot. Y'all remember this and stuff? Did you see that video? The officer chased him for 3 blocks. Now, Hubbard is a really, really nice guy. 2 kids, wife, works off duty just to make extra money for the family, chases him down 3 blocks, and he's worn out. He's holding the guy down, and he's asking this guy who's standing there for help, and the guy pulls out his phone and says, "Hey, you can't do that." Doesn't know anything about the situation. The officer is in uniform, and he's telling the officer he can't wrestle with this guy and try to arrest him. He immediately thinks that the officer's doing something wrong. So the officer's just saying, "I could use a little help," and the guy doesn't do anything but sit there and tape the thing. Doesn't call the police, doesn't call for help. You know, if he can't personally get involved, at least make a phone call. I mean, scream for help, anything. Guy ends up reversing the tables on the officer and beats him so bad he breaks his eye socket and some other injuries, puts him in the hospital, and the officer had to shoot him, which is terrible for everybody. He certainly didn't want to shoot this guy. He's working an off-duty job for a few extra bucks. He doesn't want to shoot anybody, let alone a firefighter. But he was in fear for his life and almost lost his life. And then the guy, when he got on top of the officer, the guy with the camera goes, "Hey, you can't do that." So obviously, social responsibility is important with phones. Yes, everybody wants to be on YouTube. They want to be the first one to put that on YouTube. But think about your responsibility as a human being first, before we put that YouTube video ahead of it. Personal relationships, technology over personal contact. My wife and I were eating at a restaurant a year ago, and a young couple walked in. I'd say they were in their early 20s. They both had their phone in their hand, and they sat right down next to us. They were both on their phone. They ordered, and they went right back to their phone. The food came, and they were eating, and right back to their phone, and they never said a word to each other the entire meal. Not one word to your wife across the table, your girlfriend across the table. What the heck is the world coming to? Personal interaction. We can't forget it's there. We have to have that personal interaction. It just cracked me up. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The last story on personal relationships before I move to hopefully a quick solution in my time being done up here is a friend of mine told me over Thanksgiving this year that her niece was there. She's 13 years old, and the time came for all the family to come together at the Thanksgiving meal. And as they come together, she says, she's playing a game online. Yeah, I'm not hungry right now. Well, now in my time, that doesn't matter if you're not hungry right now. This is a family event. You come sit down and you have something to eat. You don't have to eat a lot, but you're going to eat something. Her mother said, okay. And they went all and ate. And my friend was like, what do you mean, okay? And she says, she's fine, she's fine. So she's still playing that game. They finish their turkey dinner. An hour later, they're kind of cleaning up the stuff. And she comes and she says, I'm hungry, I want to eat. And my friend says, no, we're done. You've had your chance to eat. And her mother says, no, she can have something. Come on, baby, I'll feed you something. So you can tell where the problem is here. It's not the child where the problem is here. It's a little bit higher up on the chain right now, okay? So that's the kind of thing that we have to take into consideration. Leads me into my solution section here. Responsibility is not just for the kids, it's for the parents as well. And I'm not here to tell you how to be a parent. You all have been parents like I have, and most of you have. You're going to raise your kids how you're going to raise your kids. But if we want our kids to be responsible, God-fearing kids, we have to teach them what's right and wrong. We have to take the responsibility to protect them, even if they don't think they're being protected online. And we have to have the responsibility to show them what it's like to be a human being and to be a part of society where you make a difference in society. And not let this cell phone and this technology completely run and their lives as well as ours. So, thank you very much.